Greetings and shalom. Blessings to you if you're a saint of the Lord Yeshua the Messiah. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be with me or to share this moment with me. I'm grateful that you're able to join. And as always, I ask you as to whether, or to let me know whether the sound quality is good, whether the video quality is fine. Additionally, would you please inform someone who normally joins us live that I'm here so that they can know, since Facebook does not give many people notifications. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for the feedback, Susan. I appreciate it. Thank you all. Thank you all. It is not under joyful circumstances that I join you this evening, but Yahweh knows, and He's still acting in His wisdom. Shalom. Shalom means that there is peace, and there is still peace, as you would notice. Shalom speaks to there being nothing in your life that's lacking. There's an assurance that you have that it is always well. I'm therefore speaking to you this evening. Shalom, Sister Pet. Good to see you, dear heart. I'm speaking to you this evening not as one who is afraid. I need to issue certain caveats before we get into the broadcast. I'm not speaking to you as one who is scared that something is going to happen. No. We are speaking to something that I told you was going to happen in any case. However, it behoves me to address you, the Guyanese people, and those in the diaspora, wherever you are, the leaders of this nation as well. We know that we have got a new government, as it's called, with apparently a different approach that is obviously far more dangerous to the well-being of Guyanese people. All right? Yeah, my dog is always present. Thank you. And so we have to address this. Shalom is mine. Shalom is yours if you're a saint. What I can tell you is, shalom does not belong to those who are not of the truth. COVID-19. And it's sad that I have to get to a place where I remind people of that which they were warned about for so long. As you can recall, in March, since March, I have been warning the then government and the leadership of Guyana at large that this attitude of theirs towards this virus is detrimental to the well-being of the society. And I'll tell you why. Shalom Nai, whenever politicians, as they're called, seek to politicize just about everything, including your well-being and your health, you wind up being the loser. We heard that see, I only got notification now. Good to see all of you. You heard that in Region 1, I think it was, the people said that they were told by the politicians that is just a sham. It is not true. APNU AFC was using COVID-19 to get people all scared. They shouldn't listen. And then you saw what happened in Region 1. It exploded. APNU AFC, the previous government, as they're now called, they did not seek initially to do that which anyone with a modicum of understanding of science in general would do. I've been saying to this nation, I've been saying to the leaders of the nation, and other people have been telling you all, that a virus, when there's a viral outbreak or any infectious disease outbreak, you have got two options generally. One option is that you allow the natural process to take its course, which is that people's immune system, which is the best thing, the best defense mechanism ever for you. Your immune system fights the disease, you become immune to it, meaning it no longer has a negative impact on you. and you are fine. So if ever it re-enters the community, you are okay. However, in that approach, there are casualties. There are those who are not so strong, and as a result, they will suffer more than others, and in some instances, they will die. That is a biological reality. It is not a reality that the politicians want to deal with, because I said to you for a very long time since March that they don't want to say, because of politics, we were responsible for leaving the community open and exposed to this ailment or this disease, and now here we are. They don't want that. So what they did is they would seek to employ measures to slow the rate, have some check in place to initially curtail the spread of the virus until they're able to find a cure, which there is none for a virus, or some treatment in the form of a vaccine, or you can treat the symptoms of that ailment. Are you with me? I hope that you're with me so far. Because that's a scientific approach. I said to you during the time that my degree is in environmental sciences. I have been a science educator for 18 years of my life. I served as an education supervisor in Guyana with the Secondary School Reform Project. I am not speaking to you as a preacher. I'm speaking to you somebody who's an environmentalist by university qualification and who would have taught science. Now, those of you in the religious side who were praying away COVID-19, you seem to be missing something here. What you're missing is the fact that viruses and bacteria are important to the human race because they help the immune system to be strengthened. It's a good thing. Yahweh put it there. You live with viruses around you and within you all of the time. So it is absolutely stupid to pray a virus away when it is needed to help you to have a very, very strong immune system. Any system in your body that is not utilized become deficient. For example, you have a muscular system, or what is called a musculoskeletal system, which are your muscles and your bones. If you are ill and you do not use your muscles, what happens to them after a while? Don't they become weak and then you're unable to walk? Exactly. If you are not using your digestive system, you become frail, your body doesn't have nutrients, and you die. You have to, all of your systems in your body need exercise. Now on to Guyana. When we were at 8 and 9, 1, 2, 3, 4 about deaths, it was alarming. There was a great outcry that, oh, we're in trouble. When they were in Linden, 5 cases, 9 cases, good evening and shalom. There was a major outcry because persons were saying there is trouble at hand, and what are we doing? The rates, we weren't at 200. We weren't at 500. We weren't at 400. And there were measures in place to ensure that there is protection until there is treatment. To the PPP Civic Administration, you're now in charge. You criticize, you guardians of democracy, so you stood outside, you did all you had to do, you mingled everything as guarding ballot boxes, as you said, and guarding containers containing ballot boxes. Now you are in power. Good night, Marvin. Your criticism of APNU AFC's approach to dealing with COVID-19 is of no significance to the population at this time, because you fought to be in charge. You are now in charge. What is amazing to me is that since you are in charge, the cases have exploded. Only today, I think it was, we have 70, not 17, 70 cases of COVID-19 in Little Guyana. Per capita, you are by far, or we are by far, way ahead of more populous nations. The political price that you have to pay is that you don't understand, or maybe you do but you don't care, that when you criticize on the outside the APNO AFC, and you say, oh, all you have to say about what they were doing and they were incompetent and they don't know what they were doing, and you have a better strategy and you have an approach to deal with COVID-19. Shalom, no. What happened now is, now that you are in power, all of the responsibility is on your shoulder. And while you have been there for a few days, there is a tremendous spike. Somebody said you're not getting sound. Please type, let Susan leave the exit and enter. Susan Taylor. I don't know what's happening, but others seem to be fine. You're now in charge. Do you point your finger to somebody else and say that they're responsible for what's happening? When Granger, it should be Harman and the COVID-19 task force, or whatever political names you give them, when they shut the country, the mining sector down because of what was happening in Region 1, Region 7, Region 8 and those places, okay, they did it because they realized that in Region 7, I think it was, there was an issue. I know what they're saying, but more testing, right? I'll get to that. What happened? You reopened the mining sector. And again, I'm asking your politicians, just be straightforward with people. My issue with politicians in general is that they are very, very, very opaque, meaning they shade things, while they say they are transparent. I have an issue with that. The price of gold would have skyrocketed recently. It went up to about $2,000 per ounce, or close to that. It means then, let's be honest, you have got the gold industry, the gold mining industry. If you shut it down, Guyana is losing thousands upon thousands, or maybe millions of US dollars in gold. So what did the government, the PPP Civic administration decide to do? Reopen the mining sector because you want money in gold. Be honest. Say that to me. Say that to the people of Guyana. At least we know that your mind is not about saying, okay, you're just making a decision for the well-being of miners. No. Let's be straightforward here. Because you should know. You should know that if you reopen the mining sector, you have just about no proper monitoring of these people when they're in the fields. What do you expect to happen? Because miners move, miners travel, miners are mobile, miners come out to the town, Linden for example, and other places to the city. When they have their gold, they have to sell it. So they're going to move. The owners of these claims, as you call them, they will enter the area. They have to get their gold, whatever they have to need. They enter and they leave. Some of them don't live there. So they return to the city. If your interest is in the fact that the gold prices globally would have skyrocketed, say that. Which tells me that the money that you desire to get from gold is more important to you than the well-being of the gold miners and the population at large. Don't tell me that you're going to be transparent and that you're going to be honest, and then you do this, because there's nothing transparent about this. Shalom, Apostle Josh. Additionally, the curfew would have been extended in terms of the evening hour to 9 p.m. With a spike in COVID-19 cases, the curfew is extended in the evening by a further 3 hours. When initially, when it was just 100 plus cases, 200 plus cases, maybe in the 70s if I'm not mistaken, there was a 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. curfew. And I had an issue with that, because I'm telling you that Guyanese people, for some reason like other people, do not seem to understand why measures are put in place and who benefits from those measures. Somehow you feel that you are supposed to defy basic instructions that are for your well-being, and then you blame people for what happens to you. Now, if the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, is going to suggest that you can extend the time that people are on the road to 9 p.m. and you get them out of their homes earlier at 5 a.m., what you're saying to me is that there is nothing wrong with the tip. The Guyanese haven't changed, if you didn't realize. When your government was sworn in, they didn't become different people. So if you're saying to me that you are of the view that Guyanese are so responsible that you can give them more time outside of their homes, and it works for the betterment of the community in terms of their health, until there's a treatment for COVID-19 in Guyana that's announced, something is wrong with you all. If the president could say that there are four, F-O-U-R, 4 ventilators for the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, 4, not 44, not 400, 4, in a population of 700,000 people just about. You have 4 ventilators. This is not about fear. This is about common sense. If you therefore have 15 people who develop respiratory issues because of COVID-19, to the extent that they are unable to breathe because of pneumonia and advanced stages of pneumonia, how many ventilators do you have? 4. You then have to make a decision, the doctors would, as to which 11 out of 15 people would not be on ventilators and therefore die. That is Guyana's reality. Of course, the president said there should be 29 ventilators arriving maybe sometime in a new week, which would give you about 33, and they have to be distributed across Guyana, he said, which would not then have 33 ventilators in one environment. They'd be spread across all regions, and there are 10 admin regions in Guyana, which means you may have about 3 or 4 or 5 maximum in some regions, and others will get far less. Now, with that reality, Mr. President, with that reality, that is Guyana's reality, do we behave as though we are a nation with maybe 2,000 ventilators available at any time to help people? Really? So there is $4.5 billion Guyana dollars released to aid in this fight. And what I'm hearing is an economic strategy and a testing strategy, because you want to verify or ascertain whether persons are ill. So, and Maria was speaking to that earlier. If you, and that was Donald Trump was saying, although people said he sounded stupid, he wasn't stupid, because exactly what he's saying is what happens. It's a reality. If you have more test kits available and you administer more tests, you will have more results. Donald Trump was trying to say that, but people say, oh, he was saying if you test more people, they have more COVID-19 cases. People, when they want to make an issue out of everything, they make an issue out of everything, because it's exactly what it is. If you administer more tests, you will get more results. The reality is that when you get more results, do you have the means to deal with the results that you have? $4.5 billion are available. You're using them to have more testing centers around, using them to have means of showing that you have got a better economic strategy. But how would the absence of preventing excessive human interactions at the marketplaces. I see people by bars and liquor stores enjoying themselves. People are still walking around as if there's absolutely nothing wrong. There are 59 cases in Region 10. 59. It was 10 for months. Today we have 59 cases. Because of course, I said to you again, if you have more test kits available and you have more results that are available, then obviously you'll have a higher number. You should have. Where are the measures to prevent further spread of this ailment until, take note of what I'm saying to you, you have treatment in place to deal with it? Where? Where are the measures? We already made it to August. You would say that you cannot shut the economy down because I'm telling you the political price you have to pay now. It is known that most of the businessmen, the richest of the richest, in Guyana were supporters of the PPP Civic. That's a known fact. The Private Sector Commission, headed by Jerry Gavaya, they didn't hesitate through Gavaya, or from his voice, to say whose side they were on and what they wanted to have happen. So if most of the businessmen and the business owners were supporters of the PPP Civic administration, now that the PPP Civic is in power, can they exercise or implement measures to shut the country down, thereby affecting the financial well-being of their supporters? The answer is no, because it's a political price that you pay for it. And politicians in this country have a great interest in their political well-being. It is glaring because you never had an intention with Granger to say, let us collaborate. Let us put aside the fighting over dead people vote and who didn't vote and who rigged. Let us, for 1 minute, put this aside and let the Guyanese people benefit. We have got oil money in the reserves. Let's do whatever we can do to get access to this so the people of Guyana can benefit. You did no such thing. Because politicians in this country function best by politicizing just about everything. So everything is about the opposition and about who's in power. Everything is about, let me point my finger and blame you. No, let me blame you. Let me blame you. Let me say it's your fault. Let me say, and then the opposition is going to start pointing their finger at you, and that is Guyana's in general, your political environment. We do not have a patriotic environment. We have a political environment. And you could put your head in the sand and lie all you want to lie. Guyana has a political environment. It does not have a patriotic environment. Somebody said another person died a few minutes ago. Well, see, somebody said 35 students or so were gathered, hanging out, waiting for, because the atmosphere in Guyana now is that COVID-19 is just a game that we play. And so wherever we enter, whenever we have to go to somewhere in the state, we have to have a mask. We put a mask on. When we get out, we wear it over our mouths alone, and that's the end of the matter. This country is incapable of dealing with, and you're seeing it now, any extreme cases of COVID-19. You don't have the facilities because you only have 4 ventilators for the whole country. 4. Linden, do we have a mayor? Or when APNU AFC is out of office, the Linden Town Council ceases to function. I'm talking about Region 10, that's where I am. Do we have a mayor? Where are the voices of our leaders? For Linden, where are the businessmen who had all this interest in doing things when there was only 5 and 6 and 10 cases in Linden? You were eager that certain measures had to be put in place so that things can be done to preserve the well-being of the society. Where are your voices now? Where are all of you? Do we have, I ask again, a mayor of this town? What has happened? Of course, you know that you have the regional executive. That's a different story because you had regional elections. But I'm speaking to the chief citizen of this town, who's the mayor. The councillors, you're still in place? Where are we? There is a political price that Guyana cannot afford to pay. You will not be able to get out of this easily. In the midst of this, at least over the past 2 weeks, this spike in COVID-19, APNU AFC is squabbling over who should be in parliament, who shouldn't be in parliament, who deserves to be in parliament, who shouldn't go to parliament, who should be... that's what you're fighting over. The PPP Civic is busy exposing who was paid how much and who wasn't paid whatever it is from APNU AFC, who got this contract, who didn't get that contract. If that is your focus, I'm asking you yet again, in the face of COVID-19's spike, a drastic increase, what are you doing in reference to the population? You leave the economy open. You leave people to work from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. with 70 cases in a day. 4 deaths the other day in one day. People a person you cannot even find, so you don't know how many people he's infecting. What are we doing? Region 6 had 0. For a long time, Region 5 had no case for a very long time. Or Region 6 had 2, I think, early in March or April. Upper Quarantine had none. All of these places are now being touched by COVID-19, and the Minister of Health sees it as wise to leave people on the street from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Good evening, Kev. Good to see you, dear heart. That makes sense to you all. You have got ministers in the PPP government who were infected by COVID-19. Agencies have to be quarantined. Oh, the media who, yes, you are chasing after politics. Yeah, let me interview this one. Let me interview that one. You go after them, and now you have to be quarantined. That's the deposit, Josh. I am telling you all, if you see this government doesn't know anything about COVID-19 within the next month or 2, you would be shocked at what Guyana would look like. You could play all the political games you want. At some point, nature catches up with you. You could point fingers at whomever you want, but at some point, nature is going to make you all pay a price for the games you want to play in people's lives. There is no way that you, the PPP Civic, said you had a better plan than Granger and his administration. And your better plan in the midst of a drastic spike is to open the economy for far more hours in a day, to open certain sectors like the mining industry when you saw what happened. Something is seriously wrong. And I hope that Guyanese people can open your eyes and somehow have some degree of courage and common sense. You cannot deal with what this country would look like in reference to the health industry. You won't be able to deal with it. People are saying that another person has died of COVID-19. You have only 4 ventilators, I'm telling you, not a little oxygen tank you put in your nose. The machines that aid in breathing, there are only 4 of them in the entire country. 4. If you have 70 people that are tested positive and they're active cases, what do you think will happen? If 5 out of the 70, or even 3 out of 70, need oxygen, need a ventilator to help them to breathe, which is a mechanical lung, for want of a better term. But the PPP Civic, and y'all could be honest, at least now you're in power, be honest. You said that Harman and all these people and Valde Lawrence were making all these incompetent decisions. They just this gimmick they're playing to try to stay in power, and they're trying to use it. Remember Arthur Trunk Center? They're trying to use this as some game to prevent the recount. And you're fussed with people and say, no, it's not that bad. And good. Now that you're in power, it got worse. Now what? So Philip Alfred doesn't seem to understand what I'm saying, because you politicize in essence. You ask me if Granger's plans were better. Granger's plan in reference to the curfew, Granger never had a plan in the first place. But after a while, in April when they issued the gazetted order, the 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. curfew is better than 5 to 9 p.m. Because if the cases are outrageous and they are as high as they are now, I would like you to tell me if when the cases are you have got maybe about a 600%, 500% or more increase in cases. If you're going to tell me that when you had 77 cases or 60-something cases, you had 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. curfew. Now you have got almost 1,000. And instead of saying, okay, we'll go less time you'll be on the road, you give them more time to be on the road. If that makes sense to you, then you're one of those who I say would be absolutely responsible for this country being where it is. That kind of mentality, because you politicize everything. All I'm saying to you all is simple. Tell us to our faces, as politicians and leaders of the country, that you don't intend to have extreme measures in place because you can't afford it. And as a result, you'll allow persons to become sick. It is inevitable. But at the end of the day, it will at some point simmer. Say that. Be man enough to say it and I can live with it. But do not try to politicize everything and make a mockery of people's common sense, because everybody is not stupid. So any one of you from the PPP camp who think it's logical, it makes sense to extend the time people are on the road when the cases are in the tens per day, you are stupid. So don't come defending nonsense here. What it makes sense to do is to, again, seek to access funds in an emergency case, have the funds available, prepare your population in reference to having, if it's a system where persons can go and receive food items for maybe a month, 2 weeks at a time, ration as you call it, have something in place where your society can be prepared. And as long as they're prepared, what you're going to do is shut the country down for a while so that you can stabilize this spike. At least for 2 weeks. Stabilize the environment. Then, hopefully, persons would have gotten some common sense. But you cannot have this willy-nilly approach that says, as if we pretend, because that's the environment I'm looking at now. If we pretend as though COVID-19 is not as bad, then it'll just vanish. People wouldn't recognize we're playing games here. We're going to just act as if it is not as bad. That's what I'm saying here. People are just talking as though, yeah, the 85 cases, 70 cases, 70 cases, 34 cases, 4 people died in a day. Yeah, right. We have in place a system. You realize it's up. So the cases are mounting. We're doing a lot more testing, and because you're doing a lot more testing, there will be far more positive results. What are you doing about it? Because if you have far more positive results, for every one person who's COVID positive, you've got to extend that to 20 plus people. Probably more. It is a highly infectious disease. Maybe you could check Google or Safari, whatever you want to check, to see what highly infectious means. Highly infectious has a basic meaning if you understand science. I've been telling you all this for months. For months, for the longest while, and none of you can say that it's a lie if you follow me. Since March, I've been telling you this. With Granger, I've been telling you all this. I've been saying to you, you cannot pretend as if this is not as bad as it seems, because it will get out of hand. Didn't I tell you that? I said it to you. If you leave people on the street from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., from what I've seen, it is going to get out of hand. It is inevitable. Now, you haven't seen the worst of it yet, if this doesn't stop. You are closer to a treatment. They've said it around the world, okay, we're getting close to a treatment. We're getting close to a treatment. We're almost there. We're almost in the 3rd phase of treatment. So if you have to shut the country down for a few weeks, you are certain that there will be some degree of I'm saying to you, if you have the treatment, open the country. It's just like the common flu. You don't shut the country down for a common flu because there's a treatment. If you do not have the treatment, what is wrong with you all? This is common sense. What point you trying to prove? Your minister's getting sick. 2 of them are sick so far. But positive, some are asymptomatic. And that makes it worse. Because those who are asymptomatic, I told you all since March, in April, in May, asymptomatic cases are the worst for your economy. Because they are super carriers, some of them. Nothing is wrong with them, and they can simply spread this disease wherever they go. But no, what you want to do, you point some thermometer at people's head and say, good, you got to go. Yes, you're right. Go ahead. And that amounts to wisdom to you all. Both APNU FC and PPP Civic, because you do not want to bite the bullet to say, this is what we are dealing with. We cannot afford to do this. And therefore, Guyanese, buckle up. You'll get sick, some of you will die, but we'll make it through in a few months, because by then we'll have immunity. Do that. But quit pointing political fingers and playing political games. It's not going to work. And the worst game you can play is to pretend as if the virus isn't here. Just numbers are on the screen. Oh, there's 70 cases today, and we're testing, and we have got $4.5 billion available to aid in this process, and we're given $1 million by India, and we're given this. So when you announce all these dollar values to people, it's supposed to take care of the issue. The issue is that the population in general, for the greater part, they are irresponsible. In many communities, they were made irresponsible because they felt that it was just a gimmick by APNU FC to prevent people from going out to vote, to prevent people from fighting in the court, prevent people from doing so many different things. So let us deal with the reality now. APNU FC is out the window. The reality under this government is that you have got an excessive rate of increase of COVID-19 cases that you cannot deal with if you have this approach that you're taking. You're telling people that if they test positive, they can stay home? Because obviously, you don't want to have the ministers that are positive in a quarantine center. You don't want to have the rich boys who are asymptomatic like Jerry Gavaya stuck in a quarantine center until he tests negative, like some citizens have to go through. So some are more equal than others. So you can't put them in certain quarantine centers anymore because they're too rich to enter quarantine centers. So now the new strategy is you can stay home. If you are responsible, you can be self-quarantined. Yeah, right. If that's the case, then let people out of all the quarantine places. Let them go home. Don't have them in any COVID-19 center. Let them go home. Because I told you all this will happen. I told you that if you do not have your foot on the situation, it is going to escalate. Can you imagine how many untested positive cases do we have? Roger, you want me to run for officer? I tell you already, be careful what you ask for. This is a very sad reality. And with all respect, Mr. Roger, I do not know how to play politics. I would never be a politician as Guyanese politicians are. I don't know how to play people's lives. I don't play games. Those of you who know me know what I'm saying to you. I am unwilling, in every sense of the word, to play with the lives of people and to tolerate wicked, stupid people. What I've discovered in this country, at least at this time, many Guyanese in the upper tier of society despise uprightness and they hate genuinely honest and integral people. Guyana is a corrupt society led by a lot of corrupt people. So for you to have any new face enter the political arena with a modicum of decency and uprightness, they will hate the person to the point whereby probably some of you will not be able to deal with what happens to them. You cannot tell me, there's no one from the Pacific administration that can tell me that your decision to leave the economy open is not because of your business associates who are supporting the party. Because if you shut the country down for 1 month, their business suffers. They had 5 months or 4 months and they had no money. Remember, they had issues regarding businesses and so on, and opening hours were limited. It was an issue for them. So now that you've won the election, as you say, you've won the election, go ahead. Let's open the economy now because money has to be made at the expense of your people. I am contributing to society by speaking as I am now. However, I may not have a decision-making capability, but I have a voice. And maybe there are more people who have a voice. It will help. Maybe if Guyanese decide they're going to speak, it will help. Maybe if some of these tycoons could be honest, it may help. We now have 30 deaths. 30. You don't understand the size of Guyana's population in reference to the cases. It is an extreme issue that you have on your hand. Yet persons are interacting as if this is Christmas, as you call it. This is Merry Christmas everywhere. Let's have a ball. Let's go to the creek. Let's go to the lakes. Let's play games. Let's have a fun together. Let's hang out because it's okay. This is going to be catastrophic if our political leaders, Mr. Irfaan Ali, Comrade President, I ask of you not to make the mistake that David Granger made. Harsh and hard decisions are made to deal with people who are hard-headed. And the population is demonstrating that they are hard-headed. Therefore, they require harsh and hard decisions, just for the sake of humanity. I'm asking you to prepare them for it. The $4.5 billion that you have, you could test all you want to test. If you do not have the means to curtail the spread of the disease, you are contributing to the problem. So, though you're testing, which is good, and you have 700 plus cases, I think you say, or kits that you have not yet ruled upon. So can you imagine out of those 700 backlogged tests that you're supposed to rule on, what you have here, what you potentially have on your hand? You will hit 1,000 with ease within a month. We cannot proceed like this. And this is not about apnea, CPPP. I'm not against anyone. I'm speaking to you because this is in the interest of Guyanese in general. When will people get this? Stop with this political foolishness and let us look at Guyana in general. If you want to say we want people, then behave as though you want people. It cannot be a case in which you behave as if you still have this political issue over your neck and you'll die fighting for it. Don't do it. It will not benefit anybody. Make a decision. Prepare the population. Though you're testing well, that's fine. Though you're willing to test, that's okay. But what I ask of you is to prepare the people for the imminent lockdown. If you do not shut this country down while you prepare those who, they have to get food, they have to eat for 2 weeks, they have to have water, give them the supplies. Have maybe a week or two where you do these things, release money in the economy. If you have to do that, once you are done with that, shut the country down. If you don't stop the spread of this disease, you will not be able to deal with the ramifications. I close by announcing to those of you who may not know that there's a plan I saw in place for chartered flights. I think it's for a month or two. You're allowing chartered flights, which means that your airport, your port of entry, shall be open again. And your same persons have to be tested before they get here. Really? Do you want to invite, remember you have a case of somebody who came in, you can't find the person? If you want to open the country, all I'm asking you all to do, be straightforward with the people. That's what I'm saying to you. This is I'm laughing, and I don't mean to be facetious here, but seriously, if you want to open the country because your business partners need money, then okay, don't say that. Your politicians, simply tell us that you're about to take the approach whereby nature is going to fight and nature will always win. Say that. You're going to adopt the herd strategy or the herd approach. Say that. Let Dr. Anthony say something that's nice and scientific in its nature. That's fine. Say that you intend to have persons' immune system, you advise persons to boost their immune system so that we can fight this disease. Yes, politicize it. Let it sound nice if you want to. That's fine. But for the life of me, don't play games with this. For the sake of your political future, do not play games with the poor and the needy. If there are one set of people that life fights you for, when you do wrong by poor and needy people, There needs to be a curtailing of the movement of people. If you do not believe that COVID-19 is what it is, then tell us that. Tell us it's a gimmick. Tell us that it's a sham and that people are just playing games, and then let's just open the economy and walk. Because you've got borders in this country without proper monitoring, you are in trouble. On a low tide, people can walk over from Brazil. Boats can come along the quarantine coast from Suriname. You don't have as many immigration officers to monitor anything. Simone, you said the herd immunity didn't work. It wasn't given an opportunity to work. Because when persons realized that cases were spiking in most countries, they said, okay, then we have to do something, and they pull it back. You cannot have a in the pond or the pond approach with herd immunity. Herd immunity is you simply let it go, and whatever happens, happens. Forever, if it has to reach for a year or 2 years or a month, whatever it is, it happens. That's how herd immunity works. I don't know of any country that genuinely tested the herd immunity approach, because what they said is, we'll do it, however, let the old people stay home, let one set hide, once you do that and you keep any percentage of the population away from the virus, it will continue to be strong. Herd immunity is where the entire herd is exposed to the pathogen, and whatever happens, happens in the long run. At some point, immunity will win. But I'm asking this new government not to proceed along the line of not trying to look as bad as Granger, because you criticize Granger, so you don't want to do the things he did, or don't want to do worse than he did, so let's just leave the economy open and hope for the best. This is not going to work. And telling me about how much money you have doesn't solve the problem. Open your mind, please, to what is right for your people. I understand, Madam Cummings, and I appreciate your effort. To all of you who are essential workers, and especially in the healthcare system as well, I'm thankful. And I've always said that. I'm grateful to you for the effort that you're making to do what you're doing for the money that they're paying you. That's the other thing we have to talk about. Because if you have all this money that's coming in, where is the talk of the increase in remuneration or some special financial package for the essential workers, the nurses and the doctors? What are you saying about it? You had enough money to pay who the people is, the lobbying firm, Mercury? You should have some more left. Let's have contributions made towards these people who put their life at risk every day. The frontline workers, right. We don't have a big population, so we could easily take care of them. Where's the talk about giving them a special package, a hike, some insurance in terms of a gratuity or something, so they're able to be taken care of? Thank you, Alice. I appreciate that. What happened? You can't pay them the same salary and then expect them to put their life in danger when you're hiding somewhere behind a mask. Where is the benefit for the people who are called frontline workers? At least, you don't have to increase their salary, but you can give them some bonus package because they are putting their life at risk every single day. Do right by the people. I will always speak for the right of the people. Because I'm telling you again, there's something that is proper when you have a mind to take care of people who do right by you. Do not do wrong by people who do right by you. Where is the concern? Where is the reaction to the concern? Where is the reaction to the care for these nurses and these doctors? These people go to every day. You in your house, some of y'all, you have chauffeur driving and all that. These people, when a case comes to the hospital, they have to deal with it, and they have to go home and deal with their families. What are you doing for them? What are you doing? You're boasting that you have got money to have PPEs, personal protective equipment. That doesn't feed people. I'm saying that the nurses and the doctors and the security officers, whoever they are, they need to have some degree of monetary reward for their services. That's the right thing to do, and you have the money to do it, because we boast about how much money we have, so let's do it then. I'm in support for that. I'm in support of that 100%. They deserve better. You gone? No, baby. Love you. I am in support of your doing right by the people. You're better than David Granger's administration, then show us that you're better. That's what I'm saying. Show me and us as Guyanese that you're better than them. By that you have more, you said during the campaign and during the 5-month fiasco with election garbage, you had more care than Granger, you have better plans than Granger, then show us that you have these things by taking care of the people, all of them. You've got persons, like I said, security officers, attendants in the hospital. These people have to be at the gate monitoring things. They're the first line that people hit. Take care of them. Don't announce all the freebies. This one is giving me this, now one is giving me that. That doesn't help anybody. In reference to the well-being of the nurses and doctors and frontline workers, the staff in general, those who clean, everybody who are dealing with these matters, help them, please. Saying that the banks are not charging at the ATM is not saying that there's money in the ATM for people to get from. Many people over 5 months have not worked anywhere. So telling me that the bank is not going to charge me doesn't help me or help them, because they have had no job. Tell them there's money in the account so they can go withdraw it from the bank. Don't tell me the bank is not charging them to withdraw. They have nothing to withdraw, some of them. They have to pay their rent. There's not a moratorium on rent. Some of them rent houses from people they have to pay, and they have nowhere to work. There has to be some degree or some thrust in the economy whereby you are able to supply persons with some benefit so they can survive a lockdown that is necessary. Come on, man. You have don't come to me. Granger did all that, and Granger did all. Granger did what he did, and he's out. Thankfully so. You are in, and you're in, and based on your criticism, you need to show us that you're better. And I cannot think of one sensible Guyanese, politician that is, who would contend with the PPP Civic if they're saying, I'm talking for the opposition side, that listen, we would like to have a special grant here for us to access the oil money, as you all call it, and give it to the people so they can be taken care of for 2 weeks. What is wrong with y'all? Why Granger and others and all you who you want to be cannot get together and say there's an emergency at hand? Y'all chop the Constitution, y'all butcher the Constitution, y'all beat the Constitution to death to get what you want in reference to recount and who count and all kinds of garbage. Now, since even the judges in this country manipulated their terms to show okay, we want what we want, we get what we want. Now, you've proven to me the Constitution of Guyana is irrelevant. So then let's forget about Constitution. And you call a special meeting and say, we need to have access to this oil money. And since Sarah Ann Lynch got what she wants, she needs to tell their leaders that they need to give us our money so our people could be taken care of. I have enough of your politics. This is time for Guyanese to be taken care of by Guyanese leaders. People have to pay their loans. People have to have food. People have to pay their rent. And people have got to buy fuel for their vehicles. And don't tell me that fuel prices are not going up gradually. They are increasing gradually. So let's deal with what we have to deal with. There has to be some injection into this economy so the persons can live. But you have played a political game. And now, there's a political reality that we have to face. And the reality is that you cannot rush to do the opposite because it wouldn't look good politically. I appreciate the time you spent with me. Thank you so much for being here. Guyana, the most I can tell you all is that if reactions are not forthcoming in the direction of the well-being of the people, you would not like what this country looks like in 5 months from now. Drop the politics. Be patriotic. Be proper. I appreciate your time. And I thank you for these moments that we've shared. My hope, as always, is that those with an ear to hear shall hear. And those with a conscience shall react in a manner that speaks to the same. I have never appealed to a fool for wisdom. And I do not intend to do so right now. So all the idiots who want to say what they're saying, you're within your right, because it's all you can do. I have never and will never appeal to a fool for wisdom. Thank you all so much. Goodbye. Do well till we meet again. Those of you who understand what are called health protocols, exercise them. But more than anything else, do not forget to exercise. Most of you Russian, but mask and mask and unmask. Hear me carefully, please. Masks are important, but your immune system is most critical in a viral situation like this. Boost your immunity. Orange peel is very good, rich in vitamin C, more than the orange itself, 50% more. Use it in your teas. Use the lemongrass, as they call it. Ginger, onions. Increase your intake. Of course, you have to have money to do it. Increase your intake of garlic and these things. Boost your immune system. Early in the morning, if you have the time, go out into the early morning sun for half an hour or so. Boost your immune system. Your immune system is more powerful than any mask. Use vitamin D3, which is what you get from the sunlight. Go out in the sun. Use zinc. Boost your immune system. Exercise is critical, even in your house. Exercise. Don't just sit around all day. Don't go to work and come home and lay out. Exercise is important. The more physically active you are, the better it is for your system. Do not make wearing the mask most important. Your immunity is most important. With that, I say goodbye. Thank you, Daddy. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye, y'all.